Welcome to the Streamline to Scale podcast, where we help online business owners just like you go from 6 to 7 figures with ease. I'm Erin, and after years of working with companies to achieve sustainable growth, I've learned that the key to success lies in simplicity. Tune in to the Streamline to Scale podcast, where we're turning business dreams into reality. Hey there, welcome back to the Streamline to Scale podcast. I'm Erin, CEO of Premier Virtual Operations, where we help online businesses streamline their operations so they can reach the next level quicker than they ever thought possible. Today, we're going to talk about the power of collaboration, how you can create a dream team of collaborators that will move your business to the next level faster than you ever thought possible. So, we talk about collaboration a lot, and I think sometimes when we think about it, our head automatically goes to those conference room roundtable discussions where you have a whole group of people and they're chatting up business ideas in the executive suite. So the problem in the online industry is we are not in the executive suite. We're not at the conference table. We're not even in the same office, the same state, the same country most of the time. So how do we hire a dream team full of collaborators in the online space that will actually move our business to the next level quickly and efficiently without us being the ones doing all the work? So let me tell you first that on our team, we have seen both extremes when it comes to collaboration. We've seen some really, really good teams that collaborate really well together. They are working together to drive the machine to the next level. And then on the other hand, we've seen some people who massively fail at collaboration. And the problem with that becomes that the business owner ends up not only making all the decisions, but a lot of times doing most of the work as well without any input or advice from team members and the people around them, maybe because they don't want the advice and maybe because they don't have the correct dream team in place to get the advice they need. But whatever the reason, this business of non-collaborators essentially becomes stuck. And it's like they're in quicksand, just barely struggling to keep their head above the sand as opposed to moving their business forward. And that's what happens when you don't have a team of collaborators. Now, on the other hand, a team of collaborators, we know teamwork makes the dream work, right? The synergy from a collaboration of a strong team, that's the difference really between a business that flourishes and a business that fails. But it seems like, especially in the online space, we've really given little thought to building a true team, not only one of A-list players that can help you collaborate, but also one that's built with the long-term growth of the business in mind. So today I'm going to talk about the 3 steps that we take to streamlining or hiring a dream team of collaborators that really will push a business forward as opposed to it just staying stuck in the sand. So grab a cup of coffee. Let's get going. We're going to talk about the 3 things that we do to ensure we have collaborators on the dream team. So the first thing is pretty obvious, right? You have to hire the right people. So I always say the right people in the right positions at the right time. That's kind of our motto. But hiring the right people is a little bit harder than people think. I will tell you, one of the biggest mistakes I see when it comes to hiring is that people will get a resume, look at a skill set, and they decide based off the resume as they decide if they love the hire or they don't like the hire. A lot of times before they even meet people, we found that when we give people resumes in advance to the hiring process, sometimes they will try to hire strictly off the resume before they even meet the candidates. They have a person in their head before they go into the final interview. You really don't want to hire off of resume alone because you don't account for the personality, the values, the goals of the person that you're interviewing. Some of those things you can only get in a face-to-face interview. So the first step really to hiring the right people is you want to hire for values first and skill sets second. You can teach skills, you cannot teach values. So there's things like work ethic that you look at, basic general soft skills, right? We call them. So work ethic, communication, all of those types of things. But not only that, you have to go a little further than that because you also want to make sure that this person's mission and dreams will align with your own mission and dreams. For example, if I'm hiring for a veterinarian and I come across a client or a candidate who does not like animals, that's probably not the best fit for the veterinarian, right? So I try to hire someone who really believes in the mission of the business. And then we hire for the skill sets because you can teach skills, especially if they have a lot of those soft skills. Like I hire continual learners, work ethic, all of those things. So you want to hire values first, skills second. And then also when we talk about getting the right people on the team, we want to look for someone who's going to stick with us long term, not the quick fixes. There are places in your business, you've heard me say this over and over again, where quick fixes are fine. If you need a graphic designer for a logo, that's fine. You do not need a full-time graphic designer maybe. But there are positions on your team, those collaborator positions, where you want a person who's going to stay, who's not just going to be here for a week or a month or even like 3 months, 6 months. You want someone who's in it with you for the long haul. So you want to make sure when you hire for those types of positions, you consider the goals of the person you're hiring. If they have an entrepreneurial nature, you don't want to hire that person in your own business because then they're going to be so busy building their side hustle that they're not going to give you the attention that you need. So you want to make sure you hire for the long-term, full-time people in your business. You want to hire people who will stick around with you long-term. They plan to stay with you, even if that's in a fractional capacity where they work with multiple clients. You need to ensure they're not just going to turn you off, turn you over, and be done with you. So we find the right people through a 5-step hiring process. Our hiring process looks like an initial email interview, an interview with my assistant, interview with myself, a test project, and then an final interview with our clients. That's how we find the right people for the jobs that we're hiring for. We go through each one of those steps in the 5-step process, and there's certain things we look for in each area. Like, for example, we'll look for attention to detail when we're in the email interview phase of things, and we look for communication, grammar, professionalism. All of those things kind of come out in the email stage, but there's things that we can't test in that stage, right? There's how you communicate face to face in person. Personality really doesn't come across in an email that clearly or in a resume or portfolio. So we kind of assess those things too in the interview processes during the interview phases. So first step to hiring good collaborators, having the right people in the right seats. Step number 2 is you want to foster collaboration with good communication. Now, I've often been in businesses where the team members had phenomenal ideas that were just never acted upon. And it wasn't really malicious on the part of the business owner. They just never really thought to ask. So you have team members sitting there with all these amazing ideas of how you can make things better, how you could streamline, how you could bring in more income, but the business owner never asks. So all of that's kind of just sitting there like untapped potential in your business because you have team members who would be willing to offer suggestions, but also team members don't want to overstep their bounds. So you want to create strong communication channels in your business first. You want everyone to know when and how to communicate, and communication should happen at regular intervals. It's like the open door policy in an office, right? So you want to create the quote unquote open door policy in your business where everyone knows how to communicate. They know how often we're going to communicate, and they know that they have access to you. They don't feel like a burden. They don't feel like a bother because there's set intervals and set times that they know you're going to be available to them. So you want to create regular feedback loops for your team, all of those things. And then you want to communicate yourself with them regularly and often. My team always gets first priority. I wake up in the morning. If you follow me for any time at all, you'll see me say this. I wake up in the morning before my family wakes up, and I deal with team issues immediately first thing in the morning. I answer messages from my team because their hours, the delay of hours for the team is a delay of me, but they also know at that time that I'm ready and available to them so I can chat with, they can get their questions answered. Everybody can move on about their day. I recommend too, in this, one thing that's really helped us is that we work on slightly different hours. So there's hours where I work that my team does not work. That gives me space to be creative, not worry about answering my team. And then they also get work done while I'm asleep, essentially. So you could work on different hours, or you could also set times where you're like, hey, I'm not going to be available from this time because I have to have my head down. I have to get some work done without distractions. but then still create that space for your team to communicate with you and be able to know that you'll answer and get back to them. So you also want to create an environment of open communication. I talked about the business owner who has the amazing team members sitting there with ideas that they just have that untapped potential. And so some ways that you can create those environments is you can create regular team meetings or brainstorming sessions. And when you set your yearly goals, things like that, to have team members involved, you can do like a yearly retreat with your team where everyone comes together and really plans out what the business is going to look like for the next year or the next quarter even. And you want to always be transparent with your team on the plan. Like, where are we trying to row this ship? Where are we trying to get the business to? What's the next milestone or level we have to hit? And it doesn't even necessarily need to be monetary. You don't need to share hard figures with your team all the time, but they do need a general direction of what you're trying to achieve on the overall level of the business. Like, where are you trying to go? You also have to understand that you're not always going to be the expert. Just because you are the quote unquote leader of the team doesn't mean that you have to be above everyone else in knowledge on all the subjects. And this is where I find a couple business owners get really, really stuck because they want to hold things close and, oh my gosh, I'm the boss, I'm the leader. We get into micromanagement situations and things like that where they are so sure they know how to do it better than everyone else on the team. Well, that's really not the goal for your team. The goal is for there to be things that your team is absolutely better than you at. Video editing is one really good example in my own business. I'm a horrible video editor. Actually, I'm horrible on most things creative because that's just not how my brain works. But I have people on my team who are really good at the creative and they take care of that part of the process for me. They are the experts in that area. I don't try to come in and tell them how to do their job in that area. I know the general workflow that we follow and I know the end goal we're trying to achieve. But as far as the technical pieces of how they do things, I definitely don't go in and micromanage all those things. So you want to create that environment of open communication where they feel safe to collaborate with you. Some of that takes time. You can't necessarily expect that 2 weeks in that team members are just going to really start throwing suggestions left and right. One thing, they don't know your business. So it would be a little premature on their part anyway. But also, they just have to build that relationship where you continually ask for feedback, you ask their suggestions, you ask for their input, and eventually you'll get there with them and they will offer up suggestions for improvement on their own. You also can do that through regular assessments on your team. That leaves an open feedback loop, really, where they know it's coming. They know there's going to be a quarterly assessment. On that quarterly assessment, there's going to be a question, how can we improve this business? We ask those questions often in all the businesses we go into. And the team is usually more than willing to offer suggestions for improvements, for efficiency, for moving the business to the next level, and all of that. Step number 3 is after you have hired the right people and you have fostered an environment of collaboration with good communication and your open door policy, the next thing you want to do is create longevity in your team. And I kind of spoke about this earlier when I talked about you want to hire people for the long term, but you want to not only hire those people, you want to keep those people. And that's where it gets a little tricky, right? Because everybody's trying to move to the next level and we want to create an environment where our team wants to stick around. So we get those people who have the long view of the business and the past history in the business so they can really offer up really good, solid collaboration to you, good ideas, good goals, good things to move your business to the next level. So whenever we assess our team, first, we want to assess with growth in mind. I talked about the assessments a little bit, but you want to create those frequently, like even quarterly basis, maybe. And I talked about the assessments briefly, but you want to really do those assessments on a frequent, regular basis. So maybe you do them quarterly or every 6 months. You create those assessments. And in that assessment, you ask your team member, do they have any ideas? Do they have any feedback, like I mentioned earlier? But also, where do they want to grow to? So what position interests you? What would you like to learn? What do you think you could do to increase the value or of our business, or to increase or to collapse the amount of time it takes us to grow? Where can you be of use that we are not already implementing your skills? And that doesn't mean you always have to take them up on that. Maybe they think they'll be an amazing graphic designer, and you're like, no, you're definitely not good at graphic design. And that's fine. That's just an open dialogue you have to have of that position. We have someone in that position. We're going to hire an expert for that position. Something along those lines, but you do want to ask, what would they like to grow into? And then once you ask, where would they like to grow? What would they like to learn? You want to invest in your team. You want to invest in team development. So that means that you purchase continuing education courses for your team member. They understand that you place value on having them be in the team. And because of that, you're willing to spend some money for their growth. So this may look like a course, a membership, could take on a variety of forms, but where you really invest in team development so they can grow to the next level with you. You also want to celebrate team achievements. So don't let, like, no good deed goes unnoticed, right? So we don't want to let those things go unnoticed where the team has actually accomplished something in your business. They've made a big difference. And sometimes it's really easy in the course of our busy day to let those things go. And then we end up with team members who feel underappreciated or undervalued. But we want to almost build in some checkpoints even for ourselves. Like, have I told my team weekly that I appreciate them? Have I pointed out the good things that they've done and that I realize and I notice that they're making a difference in this business? A team member that knows you value their achievements, but also value them enough to even invest in their development, then they will be more likely to stick with you because they know that you're vested in them. You want their growth. You want them to succeed in their position. And that's really important to people. When they look for a career as opposed to the job, they want a place where they can feel appreciated and valued. And then you also want to pay attention to their work-life balance. When you're trying to create longevity in your team, work-life balance is important. Are their working hours too many? Do they have the equipment to do their job? Look for ways continuously to make their lives easier. If it's a system, it's a tech, it's a tool, whatever it is, look for ways to make your team's life easier and better. Offer little tiny rewards for achievements. So maybe you give the entire team an extra day off because they've worked extra hard through the launch. Maybe you give a small bonus, and things don't always have to be monetary. There's lots of ways that you can, quote unquote, love on your team without it involving money. But looking for ways to improve their life in general really gets you further than most businesses, because we want to treat our team not only with respect, but we also want them to know that we're invested in their future. We're invested in their lives. We want this to be a great place to work. And a lot of places don't offer that. A lot of places, a team member or an employee is just another number on the books. And that's what you want to avoid in your business. You want to make sure that your team feels like they're part of something bigger, that they're valued, and that their input matters. So there you have it. That's really the 3 steps to creating a dream team of collaborators in your business. First, you want to hire the right people for the right seats. Then you want to foster collaboration with good communication and all the tools that support that. And then you want to create longevity in your team so you have a pool of good collaborators that are ready, willing, and able to move your business to the next level. And your mission has become their mission. So if you need help with building your dream team, or even turning an existing team into your dream team to reach the next level, then reach out to us. We would be more than happy to chat, see if you're a fit for our services, and see if we could help you move your business to the next level with your dream team of collaborators. You can reach us at the link below. Simply book a call, we'll chat, and see what we can do to help you move your business forward. So that's it. Hope this has been helpful. See you next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Streamline to Scale podcast. We hope you gained valuable insights on scaling and streamlining your business. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Remember, growing your online business can be easy. By focusing on developing lean, effective teams, creating simple systems, and implementing smart business practices, you can take your business to the next level. And if you're ready to take action and start growing your business today, head over to our website at premiervirtualoperations.com to learn more about our services and how we can help you reach your business goals. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of Streamline to Scale.